trying to look at what this means for the future. In your opinion, given your expertise, does the fact that bin Laden is now out of the picture mean that Al-Qaeda will dissolve into smaller factions, or is there somebody there to take his place?
Well, there'll be people there to take his place. However, how well they can manage this organization remains to be known. My guess is that Osama bin Laden was the cohesive individual. He's the one that really kept everybody committed and on the same page, perhaps. And I'm not certain whether someone else can carry that role, to be quite honest.
How much should the U.S. be concerned about retribution because of what happened?
Highly concerned. I think that the Obama administration is playing this correctly in making sure that all embassies and Americans abroad are very vigilant and on high alert. I think that the probability for some kind of retribution is great. It's real.
How surprised were you that bin Laden was at a mansion as opposed to, I think everyone had the perception he was hiding out in a cave somewhere?
That's true. Jeff, I was very surprised, to be quite honest. What this is indicative of is the fact that perhaps Pakistan and the army in Pakistan were protecting him just to a great degree. My understanding is that where he was captured and killed was very, very near a military installation. So that's even more indicative as well, I would say.
What does that mean for our relationship with Pakistan moving forward?
Well, moving forward, I don't think it go anywhere but up, because the relationship between the two countries was pretty abysmal to begin with. But I think it shows over the long run that we really haven't gotten a good return on our investment with Pakistan. We've given them a lot of aid over the years, billions and billions of dollars, and their effort towards helping the war against terror with the U.S. Was completely lacking. No commitment, I would say, and I'd say it's the army in Pakistan. The army is really the one that runs the show.
It's always been something that they say that they are doing, but this perhaps makes it very clear that they were only saying it, nothing was actually happening. I mean, is that fair?
Absolutely. You know, they want to keep the money coming in, this foreign aid donations coming in, so they're going to pay lip service to, you know, fighting the war against terror and being an ally of the U.S. But in actuality, when you consider the domestic politics, a lot of Pakistanis really don't view the U.S. favorably and probably have more sympathetic views towards Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, I would argue.
For a lot of Americans, this was an emotional victory. From an international relations standpoint, though, what does the fact that bin Laden has been killed now mean for the entire globe and how countries interact moving forward?
I think it's very significant. I think that this is, if not symbolic, I would say that it exemplifies a concerted effort by NATO, U.S. forces, and other allies who have been at this for a very, very long time. And I think it's a morale booster. The soldiers on the ground are going to feel that they're making ground here, and I would argue that perhaps the mission will reinvent itself and become more invigorated because of this, and maybe it will change the time frame of how long the U.S. and NATO will remain involved in Afghanistan. My initial thoughts is that we're probably going to be there a little longer than what initially thought because of this.
You might have a better idea about this than most people would. I think every average American always wondered, how is it so difficult to find one single man? How difficult a feat was this to find this particular man?
I would say it was extremely difficult just because of the fact that we couldn't do it for 10 years. You know, it takes a lot of work, a lot of putting pieces of the puzzle together. And my understanding is that they were tracking a courier that over time led him to Osama bin Laden. He knows what he's doing. He's a very capable individual. He's not going to make it easy, or didn't make it easy for the U.S. government to know his whereabouts. He's done a great job until yesterday.
Last question. What surprised you the most about what's transpired over the last day?
I think the news itself is rather surprising. More surprising to me was what effect it's had on the U.S. psyche here. Images of people celebrating in different cities, different locations, a show of emotion, a show of support, very patriotic showing of support. That was, I wouldn't have expected that, to be quite honest. So it just goes to show how important this was to the American psyche, I would say.
Could that be perceived negatively internationally? Images of seeing that?
It can be, and I'm sure it will be manipulated by Al-Qaeda, perhaps, as viewed as anti-Muslim or anti-Arab, perhaps. But it's not surprising that they would do that, and it's definitely not, I think, out of line that Americans showed that their relief that this chapter can come to a close. And I really think that with the killing of Osama bin Laden, that this may be the beginning of the end with Al-Qaeda. Not terrorism in general, but this brand of terrorism, perhaps.